The trees bear strange fruit. I see there's one person in the chat. If you can please like, that's how you can support, just by hitting like. Strange fruit hanging from the okay, I got a message from YouTube that something is going on with the streaming. I'm going to pause that song. I don't own any rights to that song. That song is by Billie Holiday, Strange Fruit. She's basically talking about the lynching era here in America. Black people were the strange fruit hanging from trees. I've got something really heavy on my mind today that I would like to discuss. And this is a travel vlog, an African-centered travel vlog on YouTube by me, basically just sharing my experience of my expatriation from America, and what that looks like for other people who want to do it. And I realize what YouTube is, I know that I need to be making content that is appealing to advertisers. But deep in my spirit, YouTube for me is like a trumpet sounding for my family. It's to reach my family, to let them know it's time to exit America. And anybody who has ever talked about repatriation, expatriation, you know what I mean when I say you will meet resistance with this conversation, because our people are like so many people. They've been conditioned to hate Africa and everything about it. So it's not even an option for them. However, for me, myself, in 2000, I want to say in about 2012, under the Obama administration, I realized that America may not be a good place to raise children. Like, the gun violence in America is out of control. If some little crazy person ain't busting in a school, killing a bunch of people, they bust up in nightclubs and kill a bunch of people. They bust up in churches and kill U.S. senators and a bunch of people in prayer. Now the police is just busting up in people's houses and oops, we killed you. My bad, we had the wrong address. You can't even go to a concert. You can't. America's gun violence is out of control. And I know it's not just me who notices it. You know what I'm saying? People try to make me seem like I'm the smartest in the room. But frankly, I think our people just like playing possum. They like playing sleep. They see the dangers, but they like playing sleep. I can't be the only one whose spirit is uneasy, feeling like we need to do something other than what we've been doing. If you want to march, you want to vote, hey, You have a right to do that. But the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And for the last 5 or 6 decades, we've been on that whole approach. And it was, don't get me wrong, no disrespect to the ancestors, the civil rights movement was what it was at its time. Our ancestors did what they thought was best for the time that they lived in. But we are in a different time now. And that approach does not work to the time that we are in right now, in my opinion. It doesn't work. Like literally for the popular vote for president has not made a difference in who the electoral college chooses as the president for quite some time now. Let me repeat that just in case those who are on this whole voting campaign, and don't get me wrong, I have voted. I don't always vote. Because it's my right, whatever I feel for the presidency of America. The president of America, there go YouTube with my connection again. YouTube keeps telling me my connection is bad. But anyway, the point I was trying to make of America is selected by the electoral college of our government. The popular vote, which is why people get out and vote, the popular vote is only taken into consideration, but the electoral college is who chooses our president. That's why in recent years, you've seen where the popular vote, this particular candidate won, but they didn't actually win the presidency. It is because the electoral college decided to say, your popular vote, and they're going to pick who they want to. So it just doesn't make any sense, right? So we've been doing these things for decades, thinking that they are going to make a difference. The marching, we march for a while, and then we just go back to normal. And 9 times out of 10, people forget those cases maybe a month after they didn't hit the news, maybe. And so it's like we're literally living in a war zone here in America. We are literally living in a war zone, and we have normalized it and made it seem like it's okay. Working class people, we actually work and pay the taxes of renegade cops that kill our children. This is a problem. And if you look at the news would make you think only black people are being killed by the police. No, honey, do your research. White people are dying at the hands of police too, but it just don't make good breaking news. You show too many white folks suffering and you got a problem. But the world is used to seeing Negroes and black folks and Africans die. They used to that. That's nothing. That's nothing. You might not even get an advisory warning before they show a Negro's dead body with a cop standing over it. You know, we are literally just numb to black people suffering. The entire world watched George Floyd officers choke the life out of him while he calls on his dead mama and urinates on himself. How many people were actually moved to do anything about that? Yeah, we've had plenty of protests all around the world, but you compare those people who actually felt moved to do something to actually all the people in the world, and who actually did something or is doing anything about these police murders. I mean, they're murdering children. Please don't make me start naming off the innocent children that have been killed by police. This is an issue, people. This is an issue. And then people who defend ignorance say shit like, you ain't worried about black on black crime. Excuse me? First of all, you don't know what I'm worried about. Second of all, it's sad. And so it's like, this is a real issue that we can no longer just continue to overlook. This is why I have a plan to leave America. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to go back to Africa, but America has got big issues. And America is not the best place on the planet to live. There are many more places on the planet that are safer than America with all this crazy gun violence. This is a big problem. And if you sleeping okay at night, something wrong with you. No, seriously, you got some real mental issues. If you able to get up and go to work in the morning, keep telling yourself you blessed and highly favored, something's seriously wrong with you. If you raising children in a war zone and you constantly telling yourself that everything is okay, something is seriously wrong with you. So I created this travel vlog because for the last, since 2015, I have been actively going to the continent looking for a place to expatriate. And I have met so much resistance from my family, friends, and loved ones. And I just don't, I'm tired of people making me seem like I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm sick of it. Because if you Google it, there is a movement right now, just not just black people. There is a movement of people moving out of America and denouncing their citizenship. Google it. It's not just black people talking about this. White people too. White people all in doomsday bunkers and shit because they feel like shit is just going all to hell. Babylon is clearly falling. And we still got people just I'm just gonna keep in my little box in my routine as long as I can keep paying my little bills and I'm only concerned with my little situation and my little box. Damn everything and everybody else. Long as I got my little trinkets, you know, I can keep going to work and buying my little Gucci purses and pretending like everything is all right. But I think it was Martin Luther King who said, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And it literally, a light bulb didn't come on for me until I began to do international traveling to the continent. It was sad to be able to see the same technology that is being done to us over here in America is done to our brothers and sisters on the continent. But that's true in the evidence of slavery and colonialism. We both was fighting the same demon. We both still fighting the same demon, just in different ways. So today, the reason what made me make this video titled "Stop Running Back to the Plantation," and I'm not just talking to people in this live stream or my family and loved ones. I'm talking to myself too. I originally had a retirement plan to expatriate to Africa. Oh, when I retire, I'll move to Africa. Well, since all these police murders and all the gun violence and stuff we've been seeing in the last half a decade or so, I said, well, shit, I need to speed that plan up because the devil is actually is seem like he in acceleration. So maybe I need to speed my plans up. So now I have a 5-year plan, and because there's such an urgency, I'm questioning that. But I've been to the continent, and I know I've lived on the continent before, so I know. I know what my pockets can do for me, and repatriation is not a one size fits all. Don't let nobody tell you to do what they did. Now, you can use other people's stories as inspiration, but repatriation is not a one size fits all. You have to do what's right for yourself and your family because repatriation for a single person is not going to look the same as somebody with a family of 7. You have to do what's right for you and what that looks like for you. But what made me come up to this subject about stop running back to the plantation, right? So there's a story here in Fort Worth where a young lady um, was shot by the police in her house, a young black lady here in Fort Worth, Texas, where I live. And this lady wasn't doing anything, minding her own business. A neighbor happened to call and ask the police to do a wellness check because his elderly neighbor's light was on. And, he just wanted the police to go over there and check on the neighbor. First of all, in a village, you don't call an enemy to go check on your neighbor. But I don't want to make that man feel bad. But that was the wrong thing from the beginning. You should have went over there and knocked on your neighbor's door. But nonetheless, he called the police to do a wellness check. They snuck in through the backyard where the door was open, shot through the window, and killed the woman. She was there with her nephew. Her auntie, her elderly auntie who lives there, was somewhere else. I think she might have been in a hospital or something. She was sick. I can't remember all the details of the story, but the young lady was there seeing about her auntie's house. And the neighbor called and asked them to do a wellness check. The police came and shot and killed the girl. So it's been a really big thing. And so there was a petition on change.org. Her family wants to um, name a street out here after her. And so if you've ever been on change.org and filled out one of these petitions, they give you the option to share with other people. And that's what I did with my family and friends, because I think it's a really big thing that we need to, if that's what her family wants, I say that's the least I can do, because my plans is to leave here. And I'm not putting nobody down who do it, but I ain't doing no marching. I ain't doing all that protesting. I'm exiting this mug. That's my plan. Right. But whoever plan that is to do that, I'm not saying that you're wrong. That's just not me. It's not what I'm doing. Right. So I said, let me do something, let me share this petition if that's what her family wants, to support and honor her name. Okay. So I sent it to a family member. One of the family members said, well, it's not a credible site. I'm not going to da 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 da. I said, okay, well, that's fine. I get it. I know how these phones are, stealing your identity and credible. I get it. It's okay. It's just there's a bigger picture here, So I was going into the bigger picture. If you're not going to do that, what are you going to do? Because these police murders are becoming a very big issue. And again, a lot of people want to talk about black on black crime, but let me tell you something about black on black crime. First of all, black on black crime was a coin phrased by white supremacy to justify what they're doing to us, because black on black crime is an illusion. And I'll tell you why I say black on black crime is an illusion. Because when white people kill each other, do you call it white on white crime? When little Timmy goes into a school and shoot up all his classmates, do you call it white on white crime? I don't think you do. When white serial killers kill up a bunch of people, do you call that white on white crime? No, you don't. That's an illusion. People kill who live next to them. So that's neither here or there about the black on black crime issue. That's an illusion. People kill who live next to them. And so if you're not going to be calling the Asian on Asian crime or Hispanic on Hispanic crime or white on white crime, then miss me with that black on black crime bullshit. Excuse my French. So I sent this petition, and the resistance I met from a family member was, hey, I don't have this isn't a secure site, so I'm not going to do it. But my question was, look at the bigger picture. What are you going to do about this issue, period? Even if you're not going to sign that, what are you going to do? And as one of the elders in this family, I'm sick of y'all playing possum. I'm sick of y'all playing possum with no plan for this family. Like literally, I came to the family at one time saying we need some type of emergency plan. Y'all don't feel something in your spirit, like something is uneasy, like danger, danger, like you need to yell fire, like something is going on, y'all. We live too close to one another not to have a family plan of an emergency. And Corona showed us. People start snatching shit off the shelves and you ain't growing no food. So, are you preparing for a disaster? White people prepare for disasters. Are you black people preparing for disasters? Because this shit is serious. What else are you doing besides praying? Because faith without works is dead. So that led me into a conversation about the relocating to Africa. Because I was met with some type of Bible scripture about it wasn't turn the other cheek. It was be still and let God fight your battles. It was something like that, right? That's always the go-to for us. We are so ready to regurgitate some slave sermons. Let me give you a little history right quick for any family members, young family members that may be watching, right? Back during slavery, in the churches, they would allow us to have church because we're such a spiritual people, right? They would allow us to have church, but they controlled it the way they want to, right? So they took this King James version of the Bible, and the preacher was only allowed to preach a certain perception from that Bible. And we are still putting one another to sleep with that same perception of that scripture today. Because I'll show you, we not reading that Bible. We are regurgitating slave sermons to this day. Nobody reading that Bible because in Genesis 12 through 14, right? It talks about how Moses was telling Abraham that his lineage in the future would go into 400 years of slavery in a strange land, right? In Exodus, right, the next book over, is where Moses is helping his people exit out of Egypt, right? And God is making a promise to his people that he would not only save them from the Egyptians and bring them out of Egypt, but he would return them to the land of their ancestors with great substance, right? But then in Exodus 12 and 41, right? Now, the promise of God to Moses, right, to bring the people out of Egypt and return them back to the land of their ancestors with great substance. That was in Exodus 6, 1 and 8. Then in Exodus 12 and 41, it talks about how it was 430 years exactly to the date that God had taken all his people out of Egypt and then took his protection away from Egypt when he got all his people out, right? Then you know the story. Moses part the Red Sea and they go to the promised land, and then they start complaining. Man, it's too hard out here. We ain't got mouths to feed us. I'm trying to figure out what was going on. What was going on with our people? But that's an enslaved mentality, right? What was going on with our people? God done freed you. You prayed and cried to be free. God done freed you. And here it is, you trying to run back to the plantation. Okay, well. Then it was in Deuteronomy 28. God said, okay, you want to go back to the plantation. You whining so much about what I'm trying to do for you. Right? You don't want to be self-sufficient. You don't know what it means to be free. So guess what? I'm going to have you go back to Egypt on ships, i.e. transatlantic slave trade. Right? Then let's fast forward to Revelations 18, the end of the book. After he done sent us back on ships, God is telling his people, come out of her, because her sins done built all the way up to heaven. It's too much. She has to pay for what she done. Come out of Babylon. And if you don't know, Babylon is an ancient city in ancient Egypt. And God is telling his people through an angel he sent in Revelations 18 to come out of her. Because I'm finna turn this mug up with plagues and everything, i.e. Corona. Now, I am not a religious person. I'm only bringing this up because I have a lot of family members that are Christians. I've studied too much history, physically in books, from scholars, to going all the way to the continent and studying my history. So you can't tell me nothing about no past dated, outdated, plagiarized book from a homosexual, right? I'm talking about real history, real history. I've traveled the world and not just read from scholars, baby, but I've traveled the world and got my history from off the continent. And so when I read this right here, this lets me know y'all not reading this book. Y'all regurgitating slave sermons because you got a God that's telling you from the beginning of this book to the end of this book that because you keep turning from the ways that he originally gave you, he gonna allow your enemy to swallow you up. But he keep giving you chances and keep trying to save you from your enemy, and you keep running back to the plantation. Give me a second. Hey, I'm on a live YouTube right now, so I need you to stop yelling in the background. I'll see you in a minute, okay? So, like I said, y'all not reading this book from the beginning to the end of this book. It keeps saying that God is going to bring you from out of where you were being oppressed back to the land of your ancestors. But y'all keep when I mentioned that in the conversation to my family member today, they tried to look over that. I'm sick of it. If you believe that this is you in this Bible, then I'm going to need you to read this Bible for real and stop regurgitating slave sermons. America and Ghana last year did a commemoration marking the 400 years since the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade in Virginia. So obviously, we as a global story as Black people, into time we got governments commemorating what this version of the Bible is saying. And baby, this version, this King James version of the Bible is just a plagiarized version of ancient scriptures, stuff that's marked and carved on the pyramids and temples in ancient Egypt, what they call Kemet right now. Part of the hieroglyphs, which the African people in Egypt is called the Meduneter. The word of God was carved in temples and pyramid walls way before King James version of the Bible came out, baby. So this is an old story that your ancestors tried to make available to you so you don't keep. Ask yourself why we keep repeating this. Ask yourself why we keep repeating this horrible history. When they abolished slavery here in America, we went to whining and crying. It's too hard out here by yourself because you don't have a nation building mindset. You act like you done forgot that you need to put a seed in the ground to get food. You act like you only know that food come from mouser at the grocery store. We need to stop playing sleep. Everybody got a copy of this book they call the Bible. A lot of us have a copy of this book and we're not reading it. If this is your God, this is your doctrine, this is what you believe, in this book, it is telling you to exit. Period. If that's your belief system, then go by what your book say you're supposed to believe. So I challenge any person who believes this gospel, right? Ask yourself why preachers in church don't preach this. And this story lasts from the beginning of the Bible to the end about how God people is going to go through oppression and he going to bring them out. This story is from the beginning of this book to the end. And you ask yourself, when you go to church, if you go to church, why the preacher don't preach on that? That's one of the main stories in the Bible. Now he too busy regurgitating slave sermons like turn the other cheek. And God said, be still and let me fight your battles. Who really is your God? Because the God in this Bible said that he allowed the enemy to overtake us basically because we turned away from the ways that he gave us. Now ask yourself, what ways of life did the original? Well, you'd have to study history to know that. Everything that we think is evil and witchcraft and the devil, that's actually the ways of the original man and woman on this planet. Have we ever thought about that's what God is telling us to go back to? Being closer to nature? No, 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 because the white man is our God. We done made the devil our God, and we following the ways of the devil. When you sitting here with a book that you say is the infallible word of God, and from the beginning of this book to the end of this book, it's giving you instructions on what you need to do about the oppression and the sorrow and the that you going through, and you coming up with everything else around it to stay on the plantation. Every time he free you, you running back to the plantation. Well, then I guess we get what we deserve. Then, if we can't get it out our heads. So, part of expatriation is detoxifying from all the misinformation, miseducation, negative about Africa that we've learned. We must begin to peel back the layers of miseducation because repatriation, relocation to the continent is only going to frustrate you if you don't start looking at the bigger picture and peeling back the layers of ignorance. Many of us don't even look at Africa as an option, and it's sad. You ain't got to move to Africa, but trust me, America is the most dangerous place on the planet right now. There's too much gun violence in America. There's plenty of other places on the planet that is safer than America. No, for real. If you've ever traveled outside of your hood, then you know what I'm talking about. There are many more places on the planet that are more safer than America. America's got too much gun violence right now. It's ridiculous. And it is by design to depopulate. So again, I know that this probably won't get monetized. I'm trying to find my on camera presence here on YouTube because I've been a big social media activist in the past under different aliases on social media, and I've had a lot of people follow me because I speak truth. And I had to get off of social media because of the censoring and the shutting your page down and your page getting hacked and all of that. It was just so I took a hiatus for a while. But now I'm back sounding the trumpet to my family. It's time to exit. If you say you Christians, you say you believe in this book, I'm gonna need you to quit regurgitating slave sermons and read this book for real. Otherwise, it's just lies. And I'm not going to debate nobody about common sense. Who was it? John Henrik Clark said that I debate my equals and I teach others. Yeah. So if you ain't studied no history, and I ain't talking about Googling shit either. If you ain't really studied history out of a book from scholars and been to the continent, touched down, because if you read shit off of Google, they'll tell you that slavery started in 1619 when the first slaves came from Africa to Virginia. That's bullshit. I done been to the continent, baby, to Southeast Africa, where they was talking about slavery in the 1200s. So like I said, I don't debate people who with a conscience this small that don't know what they're talking about. I teach those type of people. Listen, like Vicky Diller would say, listen, I'm trying to teach you something. To my younger family members that may be watching this, I'm not going to give you no slave sermons. I'm going to give you the real raw deal. It's time to exit, baby. If you say you believe in this Bible, It's giving you the instructions. It's time to exit. It's time to be self-sufficient. God trying to free you, but you're running back to the plantation. I'm going to leave it at there because I've already said too much. YouTube just might take this damn video down. But the point is, stop putting yourself to sleep. You're putting yourself under a spell when you regurgitate those slave sermons. Read that book for what it's really telling you, which is to get the hell out of hell. I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember that Black love is Black power. And what do I mean by Black love is Black power? It's because when you talk about white power, right, you think about aggression, crimes against humanity, things of that nature. That's not Black power. Black power is Black people getting on code, loving one another, coming together and solving our common issues and realizing that we fighting one common enemy all across the world. It's time to get on code. It's time to start doing for ourselves. It's time to get free. So, with that being said, Black love is Black power. Till next time.